The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Hey guys, before we get going with episode 16 of Shootin' Shit, we'd like to take a minute to dedicate this episode to the memory of Jimmy Rave, who we just recently lost. He was at a very young age. Jimmy, rest in peace. Before we start, we'd like to play a 10-bell salute. All right, he's back and ready to go with another episode of Shootin' Shit. We've had a very busy weekend, which we're going to talk about a little bit here, but we're going to save the bulk of this for a future episode here. As always, I am the 5-star trivia machine DDJ, and as always with me is the Premiere Joey K.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the return of the one, the Pacific Island Playboy himself, the Premiere Joey K. Fresh off a hot, fun, amazing, wild, crazy weekend of professional wrestling. If you're listening to me, yes, I do have that sexy phone operator voice still because it blew that shit out on Saturday night at Ring of Honor Final Battle. So it does look like we're missing somebody. Looks like the hot one is still waiting for that goddamn rental car that never showed up in Baltimore. So we wish him all the best in his future endeavors. We've experienced some budget cuts around here, so we'll see him down the road, pal.
Farewell, hot one. We hardly knew ye. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shootin' Shit. I just gotta have a reason to play the beep every once in a while. So,
what is wrong with you, dude?
I start piling on the investment money.
yes, that's right. We are back for another episode of Shootin' Shit. I believe we're at episode 16. And so as always, I'm the 5-star trivia machine, DDJ, and joining me, we're just doing a two-man thing today because, like Joey K, he's just so eloquently put, we think Jovan's somewhere in Baltimore or Chicago somewhere waiting for a rental car. I'm sure he's gonna once he comes back, if we decide to bring him back, we don't know. But one way or another, his story will get out there and to hear about all the fun he's had trying to secure a rental car. But Joey K, how are you doing this evening?
Feeling great. Voice is still a little blown out from the weekend, man. It was a wild time.
Yes.
We had a great time, though. I know myself, my brother, we were down there in Baltimore for Ring of Honor Final Battle, end of an era. And what a way to go out. We were joined by the hot one, Jovan. He had a weekend, man. He had a weekend. We'll let him fill you in on that. But flew into Baltimore, met up with him. We picked him up, took him to the show. We had a great time, dropped him off the airport. He hung out there, and then he was off to Chicago. And DDJ, you take it from there.
Yeah, I met up with him on the way down. I rode down to Tinley Park to see Warrior Wrestling with friend of the show Ty, and We met with Jovan at a Buffalo Wild Wings on en route. He had to take an Uber there just because of rental issues. And again, I will let him tell the story because I think it'd be much more entertaining coming from his perspective.
Oh, it will be. It will be.
But yeah, we went and saw we saw a great show as well too. We drank we drank some beers, ate some food and enjoyed some really good wrestling. Saw some, great talent. We got to see some Ring of Honor guys. I got to, meet Matt Taven and Rocky Romero and saw some other great talents and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna save all that talk for a future episode, maybe a little bit of a bonus episode where we can just sit down and detail the experience of this past weekend because it was very memorable. But we got a few things here we want to talk about, and we're gonna kick off with we're gonna talk about Winter is Coming. We just as of when we're recording this, Winter is Coming ended just about an hour and a half ago. And we seem to keep saying this a lot. It seems like, AEW puts out these phenomenal pay-per-view quality matches on free TV. And it's amazing what they continue to put out on a week in, week out basis. Their AEW Dynamite is becoming, if it isn't already, must-watch TV. Joey K, what'd you think of the show?
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. I was a little disappointed with a few things on the show. Now, first of all, there's no disappointment in the title match. Other than another draw finish. That's probably my only thing because we just know that Bryan Danielson had an absolute 30-minute classic with Kenny Omega, ended in a time limit draw, and that was just a couple months ago. And here we are again, and now we have a 60-minute time limit draw with Hangman Page. I would say that's the only downside of that match was that we got another draw. Everything else about that match was great. I knew Bryan Danielson could go 60 minutes. I was pleasantly impressed with Hangman going 60 minutes. And I thought it was a great match. It told a great story. Modern wrestling, I think we've said this before in a previous episode, it's hard in modern wrestling. There's not a lot of people that can put on a 60-minute match. And we just saw a really classic, great one tonight, and I loved it. The rest of the show, I'm not going to say disappointing. I will say the very end was a little flat for me. The lights go out, and especially this will tie in later when I talk a little Ring of Honor. The lights went down, and I was for sure expecting to see the Briscoes, and I wanted to see them boys. How many times do you say it was a letdown to see Darby Allin and Sting? Not very often, but this is one of the cases for me where I actually felt it was a bit of a letdown. I was ready to see the Briscoes show up, or better yet, Punk comes out, goes face to face with MJF and FTR, and then you see the Briscoes come out and back him up with a little Ring of Honor history, a little, especially after the events of this past weekend at Final Battle. That fell flat for me, having Sting and Darby, but overall, it was a good show. It was a solid show. And the highlight, though, for me personally, was the Malachi Black promo.
Yes.
And what it alluded to, in my opinion solely, other than I've already seen some of our good friends out there posting the story that Brody King has signed with AEW. And if that wasn't a perfect tease and setup for Brody King coming in with Malachi Black, I have no idea what is. And I don't think there can be any other swerve. I mean, if you listen to the verbiage used by Malachi Black, talking about violence and the necessity of violence, and then saying you're more than a king. I think that was the line at the end. Oh man. And if you guys don't know, PWG tag team champs, right?
Yes.
Still current. You know, how what the Kings of the Black Throne is the name, I think, right? So
something like that, yeah.
It's something along those lines. I've seen other people say different versions of it, but holy shit, I am beyond ready to see Brody King main stage AEW I think that's going to be a game changer for the entire Malachi Black storyline, House of Black storyline that we have.
Yeah. So for me, like I kind of I agree with your take on the show. I felt like though, like that, that title match kicking off the show was a bit of a shocker because I wasn't expecting it. But I mean, and I almost kind of think that maybe they still should have saved it for the end, because it just felt like, to me, it's always hard to follow up, like a classic. And it's just, I mean, I think you had the squash match with Wardlow destroying Matt Sydal, and then you had
poor Matt Sydal.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then you had the women's match, which I thought was really good. I mean, Serena Deeb is just
she's amazing. And she does amazing too. They both are.
Absolutely. And then you had the main event being the match for the Diamond Ring and stuff. But yeah, I just felt like that. It's just, I think that crowd was so just gone after that title match. It's just, I don't think they would have. I just don't think that second hour was enough for them to recover, because there's just so much that went on in that title match.
So let me hit you with this real quick. Then I'm going to throw this at you.
Shoot.
If the order was reversed, let's go with MJF and in his match first. Then we hit the women's match. Then we hit the Wardlow match, is kind of like the squash match buffer to go to the main. But if you know the main event's coming on at 9:00, you already know this match is going 60 minutes.
That's true.
Does it give it away? Is that just me?
No, I see your point. That's a great point.
And let me ask you, were you expecting to see a 60-minute title match on Wednesday night at 8 p.m.?
Nope.
Exactly. And I think that's why. So I do think you're correct, but I also feel like it was the right booking decision, just based on you didn't know. And I'm looking at the clock going, it's 8:55 p.m. East Coast time. And I'm like, okay, we might go the full 60 here. Like, we're getting closer. So I think that's why. That's just me. But I figured I'd throw it to you and ask you, would it be a bit more of a dead giveaway that we're going to get a 60-minute time limit?
I guess I didn't think about that, but it's a great point.
Mm-hmm. So. And trust me, I've given shit to every show that we've ever watched, whether it's AEW, NXT, WWE's programming, whoever. There's always highs and lows. That was a pleasant surprise, seeing two guys go 60 minutes and keep me entertained for the entire 60. Not a lot of guys in the world that'll do that these days.
Yeah, I think the last time I was that entertained by a match that went that long was probably the night Kenny Omega beat Okada for the IWGP Championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and who are we talking about there? Kenny Omega and Okada. That's a classic rivalry all time. So take some special guys to do it.
Absolutely. And I think we saw two very special guys tonight and stuff. But yeah, like I said, there's, you mentioned about being disappointed that when the lights came on, it was Sting and Darby, and I get it. I think though, it just, for me, and I think the reason why, you and I, because I was kind of expecting it too, just stemming off what happened at the, at Final Battle after the tag title match, and stuff. So, but I think I could see why people like you and I, and I'm sure, Jovan as well, and, like the hardcore Ring of Honor fans might have been disappointed. But I think I think they didn't do it. Maybe it's just because, there are more people that, and it's a shame, that don't know who the Briscoes are versus those that do. And I mean, I look forward to the day when we see the Briscoes in AEW, because we can see those people that don't know who they are really just get a chance to see just how great these two guys are. Because I'll be honest with you, the Briscoes, I wasn't a fan of them initially. It took a while, but just they eventually won me over, and I'm sold, and I can't wait for them to debut in AEW, because I think they're finally gonna get their just due on a national stage and really get to show the world what they can do.
I agree. And, it is a shame that more people don't know who the Briscoes are. They should. 12-time, now 12-time Ring of Honor Tag Team Champs. They're as old school with Ring of Honor as you can get. They're originals. And the truth is, I'll be honest, I've always liked the Briscoes. What won me over most, and I think what I hope is AEW fans will experience this, seeing the Briscoes live is a different experience. When you see them in the ring live, you cannot help but enjoy what they are doing. Jay and Mark are they're amazing workers. They have everything. They can wrestle any kind of style match you want, and they're just two legit badass dudes on a chicken farm in Delaware. And that's who they are. And if you see anybody's seen on Twitter the promos, the back and forth with them and FTR prior to Final Battle, and that was the thing. Final Battle, the lights go out. We just had a classic match with OGK, absolutely unreal. Bennett and Taven are world class, and we had such a classic match. And then the lights go out mid promo, and the lights come back up, and there's FTR standing on the apron. Yep. And you're just like, oh, here we go. And
it is about to hit the fan.
Wild brawl. It was a great brawl for, and I'm hit or miss on certain, big kind of brawls like that. And this one hit for sure. But damn, I was just really hoping. I just wanted to see him return that favor, especially after the promo they cut on Twitter. Tony Khan, fuel up that jet. We'll clear a runway for you on the farm. Bring it on down. Land right here. Pick us up. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, overall good show. But I just felt I just think everything kind of I think the bar was set so high tonight with that title match. I just don't think it was doomed to where nothing else was going to be able to really even come close to that. So
I can agree.
But obviously they set up next week's Dynamite's shaping up to be a pretty decent show. So got a few things. Big 6-man, we got Darby Allin, Sting, and Punk going up against FTR and MJF. It's going to be Adam Cole is teasing a Christmas present for everyone. Who could that be?
Oh, I wonder. I really wonder.
Can we see a certain, recently?
I hope it's Ryback.
It could be Ryback. It could be. We may see John. We may see. I hope it's not Ryback because I may turn off the TV if that's the case.
Oh, come on, give the man some love. He was good at what he did.
Yeah, he's good at doing steroids.
And there's your hot take of the evening.
But then he also, who knows? Maybe it could be, Johnny Wrestling, who's a free agent. It could be Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole's former tag team partner, I believe. What were they called? Future Shock in Ring of Honor?
What with Cole?
Cole and O'Reilly?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for the Red Dragons.
Yeah, me too. I think Dragon. So
we got
just have
Fish.
to wait. Yeah.
We got them already, so let's go on that. I think that's going to be it. And now you will have the great feud of the Elite versus whatever they call themselves in AEW.
The era of Undisputed.
Yeah. Whatever it might be that doesn't get them a lawsuit.
So, but either way, obviously, Dynamite's holiday episode is shaping up to be really good. And then obviously, we've got the Christmas Day episode of Rampage. It's going to feature a rematch from the very first match in AEW Dynamite history with Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes. So that should be good. But we got a few other talk about Cody Rhodes. We talk about that's going to kind of lead us into our next question. Cody Rhodes, obviously the son of Dusty Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes. But this topic came about as a result of the debut of one guy who is just simply known as Hook. No, we're not talking about Captain Hook and stuff, but we are talking about the son of the legendary human suplex machine Taz. Hook finally had his in-ring debut this past Friday night at Rampage. And I have not seen one person out there that is of any significance or that has, has any kind of influence in the wrestling business. Basically, everybody has been praising Hook for his debut. Well deserved, because he looked crisp, he looked sharp, he looked clean. I mean, he looked like, he's only, I believe, like 19, 20 years old, but the dude looks, you can tell he's been training for this since the day he came out of, since he came out of the womb and stuff. So, but would you say, if not Hook, who would you say what would be your vote as to who had the best debut of any second generation or beyond wrestler?
That's a really tough question, because you have a lot of great second or beyond generation wrestlers that are out there. And I know pre-show we were kind of kicking this question around of how to word it. And, what we were discussing as far as who is the best from like a second generation or even a third. But talking debuts is a different story, because, you think of a guy like The Rock. Was his debut really great as Rocky Maivia?
Nope.
No, it wasn't. We talked about Randy Orton.
Yep.
Did he come out and he's not the Randy? It took him a couple of years, like you said, to get that under his belt, to evolve into the Randy Orton now that we look at and go, wow, this guy is an absolute legend, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes, another one who came out and was really put out. The natural was put out as, hey, it's Dusty's kid. And he took a character in Goldust and made it something memorable and special, love or hate, whatever it is. And he became something else, and he stood on his own. Even Cody, for that matter. Cody's debut, Cody debuting, especially in his WWE time. I love the American Nightmare now. I mean, let's be real. So, but debut wise is a tough one, and I have been kicking this around. And call me a mark, call me a fanboy. I don't know if anybody had a better packaged, put together debut than what Hook just had last Friday night. And here's why. Number one, the entrance. He had Action Bronson, one of my absolute favorite artists. I heard that track. I knew exactly what I was listening to. I got hyped up already. Instantly, you hooked me in with the entrance music. And I love that, Tony Khan and AEW stepped up and licensed some real good music, because this kid's debut has been hyped up. Mm-hmm. And in all fairness, it should have been. It's Taz's son. Taz is an all-time legend. I don't care if you're an ECW faithful or not. Taz is a legend and deserves all that praise. So you hyped it up. But I also love a couple other things. Number one, he didn't come out wearing orange and black. He didn't come out with a towel on his head, like those classic Taz entrances. He came out on his own. He had his own color, as far as the trunks. I love the TIE Fighter. DDJ, I think you're the one who called it in the group chat. You're like, am I watching Street Fighter here? He looks like Sagat from Street Fighter. I love that. I love the look. I love that he got in the ring. Accentuate the positive, hide the negatives. The negatives are, honestly, he's green. He's young. He's still learning. He's still going to get that. Accentuate the positives, though. The kid's got the facial expressions. He's got a good move set. He hit some real classics. He's hitting some suplexes. Of course, if he didn't, that would be a big red flag for me, especially being Taz's son. Yep. And then hitting the Kata Hajime, which is now called the Red Rum. But I love that. I love the way it was put together. I loved his attitude. I love how he walked to the ring. It was all business. I love how he just rolled out of the ring, went right back up the ramp like he belonged. The kid's got it. Everybody talks about it. He has it. That thing that you can't teach. You can train all you want. You can have a great moveset, but if you don't have it, it's not going to work. He does. And I look around and I go, man, I can't think of anybody who had a better debut.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some. I know it's. I thought I was really impressed with Dominic Mysterio's debut last year. It's at SummerSlam against Seth Rollins. I mean, obviously he's still got a ways to go as well too. Then you look at people like Charlotte Flair, who's arguably, one of, the top women's wrestlers in the world right now. I mean, it took her a while to she had a lot of fanfare and stuff, but I mean, it still took her a little while. But yeah, I just, in terms of like just very first match out on TV, I'm going to double down with you and say I can't think of anyone that's really had the same kind of, first match that really has been universally praised, like Hook has. I can't think of anyone else. And that, I mean, it's, and a little bit of a side note, I don't know if you saw this or not, but it was announced earlier today. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 15th of December, that it was announced that Hook's shirt is the top selling t-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. So another thing he's got going for him. I mean, he unseated CM Punk, who basically from the time he was at the first, he showed up at the first dance till now, had the top selling shirts. So I mean, that's not a small feat, for as many shirts as Punk had sold, but just for Hook to come in, and I mean, and good for him. I mean, he comes off, as his character, he comes off in the same demeanor as his dad, Taz. But I had the pleasure of getting a chance to say hello to him and, just quick chat, getting a picture with him at the softball game that they did for, the AEW versus the Pro Wrestling Tees guys, right before All Out. And he was, you could tell he's just, he's very humble. And I think that a lot of that comes from what his dad taught him, because, his dad's upbringing in the business, and that's the right way to do things. He's got the talent, but I think he's so appreciative of, just the support that he has from, the fans and everything. And it's just, I see stuff like that, and I wish nothing but the best in the world for people like Hook, and it's just, that was his first match. Like you said, he still is green. He's still got improvement, but he's like 20 years old. He's got plenty of, barring any major injuries, he's got plenty of time to evolve, get more comfortable, find himself, and just really turn into the 21st century human suplex machine. I mean, he's basically going to he's Taz 2.0, bigger, badder and better than ever. Because I mean, I think he can take that what Taz did and take it to the next level.
I agree, and I 2 years ago we were saying, oh, wait do you see MJF in 2 years? And look at MJF now. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's top of the card. He's a main eventer. Yep. He's one of the four pillars. Let's be real. You can interchange a couple people in there, but let's truly call it is. He's one of the pillars of AEW, and he's come into his own. And he's a young guy. I mean, MJF is what, 25-ish?
I believe, yes. I believe he's 25.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got plenty of years to go in the business, and he's going to be up and coming. Hook's one of those guys, but the biggest thing about Hook, and I love this, listen to Taz in interviews. Taz has the absolute utmost respect for the business. Mm-hmm. That's always been evident. It's been evident in a lot of things that happened. If you go back to when he defended the ECW title as a WWE contracted wrestler against a WCW contracted wrestler and another ECW wrestler. I mean, he did business the right way. He did what he needed to do because he has so much respect for the business. And there's nothing in me that believes that Hook wasn't raised the same way. If this is what you're going to do, you're going to have respect for the business. And that's why you said he seemed like such a humble, down to earth kid. And that's why he can pull off a character that walks out like, I own this place. I belong here. I'm a badass. And that just put him over. It put him over so big with so many people. I mean, from the talent in the back, the roster of AEW, to WWE talent, to all the dirt sheet writers, to anybody who was on Twitter talking, they loved him. Not a bad word to say, like you said.
Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. So moving on to our next topic here, we've been seeing a lot of really good women's wrestling lately. On AEW, one of the we neglected to talk about, or we may have briefly mentioned for winners coming. Another really good match with Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. I think we did mention it briefly. Saw a hell of a match at Final Battle with Roxy and Willow, and then we've seen a lot of stuff with this TBS championship tournament and stuff. I mean, a lot of really good women's wrestling almost everywhere. I'm not going to say everywhere because certain companies, they've kind of taken a step back and gone back to the 2-3 minute matches, which was kind of like, which sucks because the women the WWE has there's a lot of really great talent there. It's just, again, they're going back to the pre women's evolution days where they're only getting 2 to 3 minutes a match. But kind of just a little bit of a fun thing here, and I'm going to take the lead on this. Is we're going to take the women's divisions of WWE, NXT, AEW, the excuse me, the NWA. Let me see. So is the I'm trying to think here. So WWE, NXT, AEW, the NWA, and there was another one too. I had 5 in here. I'm just trying to think here.
Impact.
Huh? Oh, and Impact. Thank you very much. I had a brain fart here. It's Christmas time, and I deliver packages for Amazon, so you can only imagine what my brain, but what my days must be like right now. But
I can't wait for you to be driving to my house in a few days, dropping my shit off. So I'll see you soon, buddy.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a route. That'd be a hell of a route. But I mean, if they're gonna pay me to do it, I'll do it.
Come on out.
But anyways, we're gonna take these 5 divisions here, and I'm gonna rank them from 5 to 1, almost like a power ranking type thing. And then Joey K, feel free to chime in with your thoughts as well too. But we're gonna start at 5, and I mean, for reasons I just talked about, I got to put the WWE's women's division at 5. I mean, 2, 3, 4 years ago, we were seeing a lot of like really great women's wrestling coming out of the WWE. We were seeing 10, 15 minute matches between Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks, or Becky Lynch and Mickie James, or just
we saw the women main event WrestleMania. Yeah,
we did see that. But it seems like we've gone back to the days where the women's matches are only going 2-3 minutes. I mean, hell, it seemed like the combined time of every match in the Queen's Crown tournament was probably less than half of what Daniel Bryan and Hangman Page just did, which is sad. And stuff. So for that, I got to put them number 5. Number 4, I'm going to put the, and it's a lot of it is just because I think there's still a lot of these women are still young and still kind of like, trying to grow and stuff. I'm going to go with the NWA. I feel like there's a lot of promise there. I mean, you got Camille, who is just extremely imposing and unique figure. I bet she's basically this generation's China. And then you've got I know Mickie James has done some work. You got Melina, who's still showing that she can go, and Kylie Ray, and just a lot of really young and up and coming talent there. And I mean, don't be surprised if we ever do this down the line that we see the NWA put a little higher. Next, I'm going to go with NXT. With the revamp of NXT 2.0, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of the women's division has changed as well too. But I mean, they've got a lot of really talented women there, and it seems like they are giving them a little bit more time. I mean, we're getting ready to see, I believe, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez end their feud in a street fight. We just had a women's War Games match that was actually really good. Mandy Rose, since coming back to NXT, has really stepped it up a notch, and her group Toxic Attraction is one of the more popular acts in NXT right now. And I mean, you just look at some of the talent. I mean, Cora Jade, who's 20 years old, just led her team to a War Games win. It's just, there's a lot of talent there. And I mean, again, a lot of these women, bigger and brighter things in the future. 2, I'm going to go with AEW. For this was good. This is a really remarkable turnaround for AEW because back in the day, their women's division was really lacking. I think they've got a really great roster. I mean, you've got your top tier talent, like you've got Britt Baker, you've got Nyla Rose, Ruby Soho, who just came over, Chris Statlander, Jade Cargill, who's my pick to win the TBS Women's Tournament, Thunder Rosa. I mean, you got Jamie Hayter, Rebel. I mean, it's just they got a and they showcase their women properly. You got the women that need the work are being featured on shows like AEW Dark and Elevation. And then you got the women that are basically there, like your ones that are kind of like your leaders of the division are the ones you're seeing every week on Dynamite. I mean, like I said, we just saw Sheeta and Serena Deeb. A couple weeks ago, we saw Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter. We're getting ready to see Britt Baker and Riho. I mean, it's just their division has really become one of their bright spots, and but to me, when it comes to women's wrestling, it's not a better place to find it than in Impact Wrestling, and that's why that's my number one. I mean, you look at Mickey James, who's enjoying a career resurgence with Impact Wrestling as their Knockouts champion. You got Deonna Purrazzo, who's basically carried the Impact Knockouts division since she came to Impact about a year and a half ago. You've got, Rosemary and Havoc. You got the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics. You got Madison Rain. You got Tennille Dashwood. You've got Mercedes Martinez. I mean, there's just top to bottom. You got Jordan Grace. You got Rachel Ellering. I mean, it's a veritable who's who of women's wrestling. And I mean, I can't think of anybody, any company that has national TV programming that's got a better women's division showcases. I can't think of anybody else that showcases their women's division better than Impact Wrestling. So recap: 5 is WWE, 4 is the NWA, 3 is NXT, 2 is AEW, and 1 is Impact. What say you, Joey K?
I'm going to go from the top. It's Impact. Impact has the best women's division in the business right now. Hands down. You have a little something for everybody, whatever style you like. You have Ty, I believe, returning now to Impact. So since her brief, stay for a cup of coffee in NXT, that division is amazing, and they know how to feature it. Second is going to be AEW, and that's because they have an absolute stacked women's division, and they put some shine and showcase on them. Like you said, you just saw a really, really, really great match tonight between Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb. Like that was a fantastic match. They've had a great series of matches. They've had a great feud, and they've even let them build that feud on television, which is awesome.
Yep.
NWA is definitely third for me. A lot of, like you said, up and coming stars. I mean, and at the top of the list, you have, somebody like Camille, who is just an absolute breakout megastar in any women's division. NXT and WWE are the bottom of the list. And I'm just going to clarify, not due to the talent of the women. They actually have some of the most talented women in the world signed on the main roster and on NXT. The problem is, like you said, we're going backwards. We're having 1 minute matches. We had that absolute, shit fest of a match on Raw where, they're hyping up, Nikki gets involved. I mean, what was that? Rhea Ripley match lasted like a minute and a half, and then it's going to roll like up. That. And I mean, what was the point of even putting that segment on? Again, and Rhea Ripley coming off of having an amazing WrestleMania match with Charlotte. I mean, that was what, 2 years in 2020 that the NXT title.
Yeah, WrestleMania 36, the only WrestleMania to be held in front of nobody.
Exactly. And then, even go back before that. Like I said, we've had women main event WrestleMania. We've had Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, amazing match. We had the triple threat of Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda Rousey, amazing match. They've gone completely backwards. It's not for a lack of talent. They have the talent. They have an unbelievable women's roster, as every single company we mentioned tonight does. Don't get me wrong. but the booking and the showcase and how it's portrayed, it's night and day. I mean, the way Impact and AEW present women's wrestling compared to what WWE and NXT do, it's not even in the same universe in comparison to me. So it's a hard question, especially too. I love watching these women. And honorable mention for Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had a great women's division going into Final Battle. And we just saw that classic of Roxy and Willow. That was a great match. I was there for it live. It was a real fantastic match. I enjoyed it a lot. And surprise, surprise, I love seeing Deonna Purrazzo make a surprise entrance and basically call out Roxy after her title win. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, it really comes down to what company invests the most in what they have, not the most money. Obviously, WWE, NXT can throw money at anybody. It's who's investing the most time and effort into building this division to something where you can go, oh, I'm really excited for that Serena Deeb Hikaru Shida match tonight. You know, because I honestly I love it. Yeah, I really did. So that's where I'm at. You know, I think Impact's doing amazing things right now, and AEW is just right there and interchangeable at 1 or 2 for either one.
Gotcha. So had some allusions to Ring of Honor with what happened with, you know, Roxy and Deonna after that match. And that kind of leads us into our final topic this evening. We all obviously, Ring of Honor Final Battle happened. It was being billed as the end of an era, which it was, because now Ring of Honor is on hiatus till April of 2022, or at least that's the plan. But the way things are going, you know, it doesn't seem like, you know, that during this hiatus, or, you know, at least for the time being, that Ring of Honor is just going to be, you know, stored in the closet. I mean, somehow, some way, Ring of Honor is going to be out there. I mean, I believe, and you can talk about a little bit about this here in just a minute, but we talked about what Jonathan Gresham had to say after the show went off the air about what he plans to do with, though, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see Joey K sporting his Jonathan Gresham shirt. I'm sporting my Ring of Honor Final Battle shirt that the Hot One actually was kind enough to pick up for me at the show. But yeah, we also talked about what happened with FTR and the Briscoes. And I believe Josh Woods just made his AEW debut this week on Dark as well. So it seems to me that it's not going to be a case of they're on hiatus, so we're not going to even act like they existed, because it sounds to me like that in some way, shape, or form, we're going to see Ring of Honor on our screen somehow. But Joey K, I ask you this: will we see Ring of Honor again?
I believe we will, after being ringside, having the best seats in the house. If you don't believe me, go check out my Twitter page, because I have a bunch of pictures that have gone viral, but more on that later. You know,
and Joey K will not shut up about it, by the way.
Hey, you know, I was fortunate enough, I'll just say it now, I was fortunate enough to capture a really amazing moment.
It really was.
After the Shane Taylor Kenny King match. Something that the pay-per-view crowd didn't get to see. They cut away to the CM Punk video.
Yeah.
Which, understandable, and it's their show and their pay-per-view. But for everybody in that live crowd that got to experience that and got to witness it, it was a really, really amazing moment for wrestling, for Black wrestlers, for everybody. This beautiful show of unity and support, something that's been really missing. I just, this one comment sticks in my head. I don't know who it is on Twitter, but just said, I don't remember ever seeing that many Black wrestlers in one ring before. And that hit me. And I was like, wow. Like, you know, the diversity in professional wrestling, it is changing, but it's been a slow change. And, you know, so getting to experience it. So that I got to share a picture, went viral, you know, STP and Kenny King, world famous CB was in there. Caprice Coleman was in there.
I believe Eli Ison was in there too.
Was he? I can't recall at the moment.
I thought he might have been.
He might be still suffering from that huge slam from the Titan, Adam Scherer. But either way, it was a beautiful moment. Not even just that, I got some really, really amazing shots. I did have the best seat in the house. But one thing that was really put on over that show was the end of an era. And it really, truly is. It's the end of Ring of Honor as we know it now. But one thing I took away from that show is that it will be back. I think in some form, Ring of Honor wrestling will be back. And it won't be the same. It won't look like it is now, or has looked like in recent memory. But you're going to have something. And I think, they're gonna still do some great things on a smaller scale, of course. But who knows? Time will tell what actually happens and how big and popular it can get. They're going to be more like a, PWG or even GCW, where you have people who are not under contract anywhere and can come in, and they'll bring people in and have matches and feuds. And I think it'll go well. I think it'll be a big change. But I look forward to it. I'm really hoping so. I'm going to love to see it again. There's nothing like an ROH crowd, until you're there live and you're ringside and you're smacking your hands on the barrier where you can't even close your hand by the end of the night because it's so swollen and sore, where you blow your voice out screaming. Ring of Honor is a very, very, very special company. And I've been a fan for a long, long, long time. And in fact, everybody listening and watching, you all have been too. You just don't even know it, because all your favorite wrestlers today and your champions of the past however many years have all come from Ring of Honor. From your CM Punks and your Bryan Danielsons to your Samoa Joes to your Adam Coles to your Young Bucks. They spent time in Ring of Honor too.
Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish,
Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, the guys who put really an entire generation of NXT on their back in the Undisputed Era. Ring of Honor.
Kevin Steen and El Generico.
Fight forever. There are so many names, so much talent that shaped professional wrestling that came out of Ring of Honor. So it'll never die. I just think it'll be something very different. I look forward to it. And of course, I still support it. No matter what direction they go in. And when they come back to Philly, I'm sure I'll be there because I'm going to want to see myself what's happening. But I really do think they'll come back. I got that vibe. I got that feeling. Also, little few things that might have happened that night. But first, before I even touch on that, DDJ, you tell me, what do you think?
I'm with you on that. I mean, I kind of thought going into this that maybe this was going to be it, but it just seemed like the way that it was, that the announcers were talking and the stories that we saw, like we talked about with, Deanna and Roxy, FTR and the Briscoes, with what Gresham had to say about, what he was going to do with the title after the show went off the air. I think we're going to see, I think we're going to see things like we may see, the Ring of Honor, the Women's Championship defense, I put on the line at an Impact show. We may see a Ring of Honor tag team title match on an episode of Dynamite. We may see Jonathan Gresham show up with the Ring of Honor title, on Dynamite or somewhere else. I mean, it's just, who knows? But it just seemed to me the vibe that I was getting and the way the show played out and everything. And obviously they also had that video that played at the end about the new era starting in April. I see in some way, shape, or form, I do think we are going to get Ring of Honor back. Like you mentioned before, it's probably going to be a different Ring of Honor than what a lot of us who follow the show for the past, 20 years or how it could have been around. Because I think it started in 2002. It's going to be different, but I mean, I'm not the type of person that just because something changes, I'm not going to automatically assume it's going to be bad. I mean, who knows? It may be good. It may be enjoyable. We don't know, but we need to give it a chance to succeed and stuff. And I mean, that I hope that we do see it because, like you said, one of my biggest regrets is I never went to a Ring of Honor show. I'd like to rectify that somewhere down the line. And it may not be the Ring of Honor that I fell in love with, but I mean, just because something changes doesn't mean it's automatically bad. like I said, I definitely think that Ring of Honor is going to have a presence in this business. I think even if it isn't, the legacy of Ring of Honor is going to live on with, like all the guys that we just talked about. I mean, we're seeing it in, WWE with guys like, with Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. We're seeing it in AEW with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Hangman Page, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson. I mean, it's just that Ring of Honor's, Ring of Honor is basically kind of got that, like, created that legacy pretty close to what ECW did back in the day, because I mean, people still talk about ECW, because you still see, you still see influences, you still see Tommy Dreamer out there competing. You see, there's just something that was just something so special about ECW, and the same thing can be said about Ring of Honor. And really, for as long as we see all these guys like, the Bobby Fisches or the Kyle O'Reillys or the Seth Rollinses, as long as we see them on our TVs, the memory of Ring of Honor will always live on. But yeah, I definitely think we are going to see Ring of Honor back. Again, it's not going to be the Ring of Honor that we're used to, but we're going to see Ring of Honor. And again, don't be surprised if we see some Ring of Honor titles defended on some other programs.
Well, I can already confirm one that just dropped a few hours ago. Your new Ring of Honor TV champ, Brett Titus, is actually defending the Ring of Honor title January 22nd, United Elite Wrestling. 60-minute time limit match against Mike Bennett.
Ooh.
So you're already seeing one of the final champs of this era of Ring of Honor defending a title. So let's hit on some of the show stuff, since I got to be there and enjoyed it. Absolutely one of the best nights of wrestling I've had. Top to bottom, the show was amazing. Blew the doors off of anything. I would dare say probably the best live wrestling show I've ever been to. From pay-per-views, from any company, it doesn't matter. It was absolutely up there. You saw some titles change hands. The biggest one of the I already touched on a really beautiful moment. Probably one of the best matches of the night, if not the best match of the night.
That was my pick for match of the night.
Match without honor, Kenny King versus Shane Taylor. Ooh, man, that was a car crash, but such a beautiful finish to an ongoing story. A great feud that they built so well. It was awesome. We saw 6-man titles change hands. The Righteous took them from STP.
Yep.
We saw some really, really, really classic matches happen. But one of the biggest, as I'm wearing the new Ring of Honor Champs shirt here tonight, Jonathan Gresham, with a little help from All Elite Wrestling, Jay Lethal returning one night only for the final Ring of Honor show. Thought that was a super classy move. I love that Tony Khan was able to help out in the way he did. And of course, having FTR show up as well too. That was a real treat. That was a bit of a surprise, but an absolute treat. I loved it. But the Gresham Lethal match was a classic. I felt going into it, will they be able to outdo the match they had during the Pure tournament?
The 500th episode of Ring of Honor TV,
which was a fantastic match. I love the Pure Rules set. But this wasn't under Pure Rules. This was just a straight up match. And two guys who know each other very well, who work so well together, and it was an instant classic match. I loved it start to finish, particularly going to the finish when the entire Ring of Honor locker room emptied, surrounds the ring and cheering on for the final few minutes of that match. And to see them go back and forth, and then finally Gresham locks Lethal up and gets the submission and wins. And another
one of the things, can I interject here real quick?
Sure.
One of the things that I really loved about that was towards the end of the match when the entire locker room came out and surrounded the ring. I love that.
Right. And that was probably for me too. I was like, the energy level in the building just went to an absolute fever pitch. It was awesome. And, and prior to that, I should have mentioned this since Bandito was unable to compete and defend the Ring of Honor title, they brought back the original Ring of Honor title, which I thought was an absolute classic move. I loved it. And they presented that title to Jonathan Gresham as the Ring of Honor World Champ. And it was so fitting for his story arc of bringing pure wrestling and purifying Ring of Honor to come full circle, final battle, and win the title, and then be handed the same title that was handed to Samoa Joe, to Bryan Danielson, to CM Punk. It was just an absolutely amazing moment to be there and be part of. I loved it. Gresham's comments after, where he really kind of alluded to a few things, that he's got a couple guys that he needs to wrestle to be the best in the world. And I don't think anybody in that building doubted he was talking about CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. So will we see Gresham show up in AEW? I do hope so. I am very excited for Terminus. And if you aren't, I mean, please do. Side note, little spoiler, and I shared this with DDJ before we went live. So Gresham decided to do his impromptu meet and greet and come around ringside to all the fans that night. And one of the things I had to ask was, are you going to live stream Terminus? And, he kind of chuckled and smiled a little bit and said, I don't know yet. We'll see. And I basically begged and pleaded and cried that he should, because that card is going to be stacked. And I'm really interested to see what Jonathan Gresham's vision for a pro wrestling company or division is. We've already got a taste of it with the Pure division in Ring of Honor and what he did with the foundation. And I'm very, very, very excited to see how that continues on. And more stars continue to be added to this show in Atlanta in January. Mm-hmm. Please get on Twitter, get out there and just beg, please live stream this event, because it's something that is going to be really, really special. The night overall, I have no complaints. Every match hit. The Briscoes versus OGK for the tag team titles, aside from the ending, which I know everybody talks about FTR showing up, that match was amazing.
How about that bump that Maria took?
She took that bump directly in front of me, by the way, too, because we were dead center, hard camera side, right where that happened. And we both jumped up because it looked just as nasty in person as it did on camera. That just 4 guys who represent Ring of Honor. I mean, and of course Maria too with OGK, and what Maria is doing with the women's division in Ring of Honor before this change happens. It was just such a great a beautiful send off, an absolutely beautiful send off. I have zero complaints. I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and got some really cool moments. Like I said, I got this little impromptu meet and greet with Jonathan Gresham. Tons of pictures. So many people coming around, high-fiving, shaking hands. Thank you so much. Mandy Leone, she's amazing. She came over, and I got a great picture of her. Took a great picture of her in the ring that she shared out, which was really, really cool. Like I said, Shane Taylor, the guys from STP, Shane Taylor Promotions, so amazing. And PJ Black, the Darewolf, such a cool human being. We were shouting him out. We were shouting him out in the ring. And of course he gets the big win too. They hit the black flip, which is that, basically the destroyer off of Flip Gordon's shoulders, which is looked really cool in person as well too. And I happen to have a Darewolf t-shirt I hold up, and there he is. And if you actually watch the pay-per-view back, you can see him when he rolls out of the ring post-match and he comes running around to the hard cam side of the ring. He was coming over to us and he's like, "Hey brother, take a picture, man. Come on, let's get a picture." Which was like super cool moment. I was kind of fanboying a little bit. He was awesome, shook his hand, gave it, just definitely gave him all the love in the world for that. But from the opening bell, STP versus the Righteous all the way up through Gresham and Lethal, every match hit. I would tell anybody, go back and watch that event. It really was truly something special. For the people in the building, look, Ring of Honor fans are awesome. I met so many cool people, going to Ring of Honor shows, from Streamer Guy If you know Streamer Guy, you know he's always there with his big plastic bag and who wants streamers, and we're all tossing them every time we get them to the wonderful and amazing Honor Club girls. You know, they're so awesome. I made so many really good friends, and you know, just seeing so many of them, you know, just it was a great night, and it was very like an emotional ride, you know, to get that invested in a wrestling event in 2021. You don't have that too much, especially with the mainstream, you know. Yeah, you get it some with AEW, but WWE is really falling flat in that. And to get that at a Ring of Honor show, the last one out there, and to know like these guys are carrying these titles out there and they're going to defend them in other companies, and whether they have permission or not, I don't know, nor do I particularly care. I just think it's a really cool concept and a cool idea. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I really am. But the end of an era, man, was just whew, what a roller coaster and what a fun night.
And before I go into detail my experiences with Warrior Wrestling, I just want to say, when we do our year-end awards, so do not be surprised if I spend some time talking about Final Battle, because I thoroughly enjoyed that show.
Agreed.
And that but yeah, so the day after Ring of Honor Final Battle, I went down. I rode down with my friend Ty. We met up with Jovan, who flew from Baltimore to Chicago, and as far as I know, he's still waiting for that rental car. Again,
I can't wait for you guys to hear the story about how the Hot One was screwed in 2 different cities with a rental car.
Yes, it is a something that is guaranteed to make you to chuckle.
He was pissed. He was pissed.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. He was really pissed.
Yeah. So we went down to Warrior Wrestling, and for those of you who may be unfamiliar with Warrior Wrestling, it's an independent show run by the principal of Marian Catholic High School in Chicago Heights, Illinois. Steve Tortorello, really nice guy who I've had on my podcast, What Do You Say with DDJ, in the past, and his is more of like a traditional indie promotion where he brings in, you know, wrestlers from all, you know, all over the world. This show featured talents like Mike Bennett from the OGK, who's a total class act. Thoroughly enjoyed meeting him. He lived up. I was so excited when I found out he was going to be there. Lived up to the hype. Couldn't been any nicer. Also got to see up and coming AEW women's wrestler Sky Blue, who's a local girl from my area. So it's so great to see her enjoying the success she is. I saw Thunder Rosa there. Was really good. But for me, saw Dante Martin. It's just so many others that we saw, but just the highlight, and we'll let Jovan tell this story too, is when we met Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, if you ever get a chance to go to a show and he's doing a meet and greet or see him at a comic convention, do yourself a favor and go see Will Ospreay, because the dude is obviously he's super talented in the ring, and congrats to Will Ospreay on winning the Warrior Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. And rumor has it he's going to be bringing that title along with his other titles, because he's actually in possession of 4 titles right now. He is actually become the belt collector. And I think I know Jovan and I are of this mindset. I don't know about you, Joey K, but the real IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
I agree 100%. 100%.
And what was really cool is I actually got to hold that belt, and it is a heavy piece of leather. Those things are definitely a far cry from the plastic or replica championships that you see a lot of people going around the shows.
Let me cut in real quick.
Yeah.
So I didn't say this, but so my brother, of course, Gresham comes over and we're chatting with him, and my brother goes, "Hey, do you mind if I hold the belt?" Gresham, cool as the other side of the pillow. "Oh, of course, man, no problem." Hands my brother the belt. My brother's face when he gets a hold of the original Ring of Honor title, he just looks at me like he's trying to pick up Thor's hammer. Like it just.
And how old is your brother?
He's 27.
Okay.
27, 6'2", big, strong kid. And he looks at me shocked at the weight of this title belt. So I can only imagine the IWGP title is the same way.
Yeah.
He passes it to me, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, this is at least somewhere maybe about 15 pounds, which obviously 15 pounds doesn't weigh a lot. But for that title belt, that's a heavy belt. That is a heavy piece of metal and leather that's there. And so I don't doubt it, especially with the design of the IWGP title. I can only imagine how heavy that thing is.
Yeah. But I mean, just for much like Final Battle, top to bottom, great show. There was a bit of a scary moment with Matt Taven, and who wrestled Sam Adonis, who most people know as the brother of Corey Graves. Sam Adonis went up to the top rope and did a 450 splash, but his knee actually caught Matt Taven in, I believe it was a cheek or something. It could have been really bad. Thankfully, it looked like Taven was okay. He got up afterwards, they shook hands and embraced and stuff. But it was just, I mean, just the experience. Just, you get there. We got there early for the Fan Fest, and like I mentioned, all the talents that we got to meet. And then just the show got started, and I mean, it was just great. I mean, you saw there was all different kinds of wrestling. I mean, you had a lucha libre with I believe is Aries, who's the Warrior Wrestling Lucha champion, going up against Demonic Flamita. And Demonic Flamita is someone that really, if you don't know who he is, you need to start paying attention, because the dude is good. There were a couple spots that me, Jovan, and Ty marked out for where he
did you do the corkscrew to the outside.
I think he did, but like the what even got us more was when he would go to do the move, then he would stop in the middle of the ring. And yep, exactly. If you're listening to this on Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever, Joey K just threw up the one gun salute there, the middle finger, and yeah, Demonic Flamita did that.
And shout out to my brother who yelled to Demonic Flamita at Final Battle, and Flamita decided to flip my brother off specifically for yelling at him. It was made his night. Absolutely made his night. But I love that gimmick where he just is like, we can do it. And when you're getting ready to see something great, and he just stops himself and just flips you off, it's priceless.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a really good women's match with Thunder Rosa, who's the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion, against Mercedes Martinez. We saw actually a fatal 4-way intergender match with Sky Blue, Billy Starks, Gringo Loco, and Axel Rico. I mean, it's just, again, and then we also saw, and this guy gets a lot of hate, but dude, the guy knows how to draw heat in the ring. We saw an appearance by one Frank the Clown. A lot of people hate on him, but I mean, the dude can talk. The dude can cut a promo. He knows how to get heat. There's no denying that he's got talent. But I mean, it's just all in all, great time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know our friend Ty didn't enjoy it because he was really looking forward to seeing Chelsea Green, who was supposed to be at the show but had to pull out and stuff. But it is what it is and stuff. But I mean, I just, all in all, it was just a great, day of going to see a show live. And we talk about, all the experiences that we have at these wrestling shows. And I'm sure the majority of the people out there who listen to this show or who are in any of the Facebook wrestling groups have been to a live show. But if you've never been to a live show, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, whether it's Impact, whether it's MLW, NWA, your local, mom and pop indie organization, PWG, just anywhere, if you have a chance, go see a pro wrestling show live, because there is really nothing like it. You can watch it on TV all you want, but there is nothing like going to a show and being in the audience. And it's one of like the best things. It's just seeing a professional wrestling show live.
I'll agree. I mean, seriously, there is no comparison to watching it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday night, watching a pay-per-view, to actually being in the crowd and being around other fans. It's an experience, and especially too when you see a card that has some really amazing, talented performers. Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
Quick shout out. I know they're gonna love me for this. I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm very confident in myself. I'm a heterosexual man, and I have zero shame in saying this. This is for some of the Honor Club girls, Courtney, Mary Kate, Lori, all you guys. Matt Taven is the fucking best smelling wrestler I've ever been around. And I say this as a very confident in my own self. I have no problem admitting this. That motherfucker smells really good all the time. He came out, he crashed into the barricade right in front of us, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy's in a fight. He's in it with the Briscoes, who just go absolutely hard, and holy shit, like, he smells really fucking good. So shout out fucking Matt Taven for just being a champ and smelling awesome all the time. I don't know, man. He's fucking all time. Like, you know, there's a level. I would assume, like, I've never been close enough to The Rock wrestling. I've seen him wrestle live, but never like ringside where he'd be right there. I assume The Rock probably is a good smelling dude. I just figure he wears like some good cologne, some expensive shit. But goddamn, Matt Taven, man. Fucking props to you, buddy.
Out of everything that we just talked about and all the experiences that we had, the one thing that stuck with you is how Matt Taven smelled.
Okay, look, I've been to a lot of wrestling shows, and you know just as well as I do, there's a lot of non-great smelling wrestling fans in the fucking crowd.
Yeah, that's very true.
IWC, do better. Wear fucking deodorant. Get some cologne.
Take a shower
once in a while. Fuck, man, like something. Like do something. You know, and you're just in the crowd. These guys are out there sweating their asses off. You know, working hard. Fucking Taven, man. Solid takeaway from Ring of Honor. Amazing company, amazing shows, amazing rosters. Matt Taven smells great. There's a hot take on it. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm fucking wrong. Hit me in the comments on YouTube. Hit me on Twitter. Tell me I'm fucking wrong. He smells fucking good, hands down. Hands down. I dare anybody to fucking debate me on that, or tell me somebody who smells better than Matt Taven mid-match. Don't think you have it. I don't think you have it.
Well, that's not something I was expecting to talk about tonight.
Hey, man, I'm fucking out here. I'm for the people, man. They need to know this shit.
They need to know that Matt Taven smells good.
You don't get that shit on Honor Club. I mean, I'm just being real. I'm just being real. Like, fucking smells good.
Now, if I could only go back in time to Sunday and say, Matt Taven, please listen to our podcast because we're going to talk about how good you smell.
Next show. Hey, wherever he's at next, I'm going to be straight up with him. I'm going to be like, bro, I'm going to give you your fucking flowers tonight. You fucking smell good. I don't know how he's going to take that, nor do I really give a shit, but I'm just going to be real. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell him. Let him know.
I know how he's going to take it. You're going to try to access him on Twitter, and you're going to find that you've been blocked from seeing his tweets.
That very well could happen. That is a consequence that, you know, that might happen. So we shall see. But
all right.
God damn it, it's true. It's 100% true.
All right. Man. Well, before we go, it's about time to call it a night. But before we go, we got a little bit of a holiday message here we want to play for you. So sit back and enjoy your Christmas present from the boys at Shootin' Shit. This is our 2021 Christmas card. Hey everybody, it's the 5-star trivia machine DDJ.
It is the hot one, Jay Monacho.
And from the guys at Shootin' Shit, We wish you a happy holiday. We wish you a happy holiday. We wish you a happy holiday from the guys at Shooting Shit.
You two absolute buffoons just butchered a holiday classic by not syncing together. This is the Premiere Joey K telling everybody, have a wonderful New Year. Take care, guys.
Oh, that is fun, and that is our Christmas gift from us to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Shooting Shit. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow the show on Twitter at SHOOTINSHT, and thanks for listening.